I want to take us to 1 Kings chapter 17, where we're going to read an account of Elijah. Elijah's a prophet of God. He's a man chosen by God to speak truth to the people of Israel, in a time that was, talk about unsure. We're easy to say these are evil times we're living in. Elijah was living in evil times, okay? And here's a man of God that has a message to the people, and it's basically this: y'all are sinful, y'all are evil, there's going to be a famine. There's going to be drought. And so we see this, a drought occurs, a famine occurs. Elijah is instructed to go to a town called Zarephath. And we're going to pick up in verse 8. Then the Lord said to Elijah, "Go and live in the village of Zarephath, near the city of Sidon. I have instructed a widow there to feed you." So he went to Zarephath. As he arrived at the gates of the village, he saw a widow gathering sticks, and he asked her, "Would you please bring me a little water in a cup?" Now, let's be reminded, there's a drought going on, and he asked for water. How does she respond? As she was going to get it, he called back to her, "Hey, bring me some bread too. Not only a drought, but a famine." And she has the response. I almost feel like there's a question being asked in the back of her mind, going, "Are you serious?" She says this, "I swear by the Lord your God that I don't have a single piece of bread in the house, and I have only a handful of flour left in the jar and a little cooking oil in the bottom of the jug. I was just gathering a few sticks to cook this last meal, and then my son and I will die." Talk about just an anxious time, an anxious moment. And yet here is Elijah approaching this woman and saying, "Hey, I'm hungry, I'm thirsty, everything else is going on. Can you provide what I need?" And again, her response is, "Do you not see what is happening around here? We are in such distress, such disarray. Me and my son are ready to die. We're ready to give up. We're ready to quit. We're ready to lay down and just die." Verse 13, "But Elijah said to her, 'Don't be afraid. Go ahead and do just what you've said, but make a little bread for me first. Then use what's left to prepare a meal for yourself and your son. For this is what the Lord, the God of Israel, says: there will always be flour and olive oil left in your containers until the time when the Lord sends rain and the crops grow again.' So she did as Elijah said, and she and Elijah and her family continued to eat for many days. There was always enough flour and olive oil left in the containers, just as the Lord had promised through Elijah." Here's where I want to get our minds wrapped around today, and it's back in the widow's response to Elijah. It's in that kind of, she doesn't ask a question, but in her text you feel she's asking a question. She's asking that "are you serious?" question. And here's what I want us to get to today. I want us to get to a point in our relationship with God that we are always going back to ask again. We're always willing and ready to go back and ask again. Just like we were going through Chick-fil-A, we didn't receive the order that we wanted. It wasn't the thing that we were anticipating. We received something different. But yet, we said, no, this is what we need to go back for. I know it's a silly analogy of fast food, but it really does work. If we go back and we ask God, what do you want to do in this moment? What do you want from me in this time? What do you want out of 2020 that has been it's been depressing. I have to tell you folks, I'm going off on a tangent here, but let me tell you, back in March and April, I was unsure if ministry was the thing for me. It felt everything had been taken away. Students had been taken away. Relationships had been taken away. Opportunities to just be in the presence of people had been taken away. And let me tell you, I'm a people person. Okay? Shocker, I know. It felt, I was questioning my entire identity in this. The entire time I just go, God, this is going on, but I know that I know people are dying. I know that people are suffering, but the way that this is all interacting, this famine that we're all experiencing, this relational drought that we're all experiencing is tearing me apart. It was dark. But in the back, I felt God was saying, Matt, I still have more for you to experience. I'm not done. I'm not done. You think that there's just relational famine and drought going on. Let me tell you, harvest will still happen. There will still be the people that are in need. There are still the people that need to hear the word. There are still people that need to be encouraged even in the drought. So I went back and I asked again. And let me tell you, I feel I am experiencing a blessing, a relational blessing unlike any other. The lives that we're seeing in students, the changes, the impacts that we're seeing, the light that we see in students' eyes as they walk into the room and they're just excited to be there because they know we're not created for relationship through a screen. We're created for relationship one-on-one. We're created to be together, and we're starting to see that they can have the relationship with each other, but God loves you even more. And wants to have that relationship with you even more. So we're seeing the blessings being poured out on students. And I think because it's all that we're willing to go back and ask again. We're always willing to go back and say, you know, this year's been rough. It's been troubling. But God, what are you still wanting to do in it? What are you still wanting to provide? What blessing are you still wanting to pour out on your people? And I really believe this. The blessing doesn't occur until we go back and ask again.